Hey folks, Merry Christmas. As you can see in front of me, I got quite a good haul of puzzles under the tree today. So I thought I'd just make a little extra video and show some of these off. There's a few puzzles in here that I've never seen before, really. Some of them are in categories I don't have any experience with, so there'll be some new challenges for sure. So I'm pretty excited. We got in total, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 puzzles, looks like. So not bad at all. So without any further ado, I'm just going to show off. I've opened all these, out of the wrapping paper with my family. So it's not really an unboxing as much as a reveal and first impressions, but hopefully it'll be interesting for some of you. This here from LanLan, we've got the Mosaic Cube. Now I'm a big fan of the the ReadyCube, and this is kind of a higher order version of that, I believe. So it's a corner turning puzzle, just like the ReadyCube, but we now have 2 layers that can turn on the corners, so that gives us 4 centers here to work with, and 2 edge pieces on each edge. So it'll be a little bit more challenging. I don't think it's going to be a super hard puzzle by any means. The turning is stiff, as is the case with any LanLan puzzle that I have, but not too bad, honestly. I think it'll be perfectly fine to solve. Stickers are okay, not too bad. None of them seem to be too out of place, which sometimes happens with LanLans as well. So I'm looking forward to this one. I love the ReadyCube, and this is kind of the next step up. So, natural progression. I do think at some point I'd like to get the Bubbloids from Carl Hoff. Those are 3D printed puzzles, but there's 2 of them that are available from HK Now Store, and they're kind of cuboids, but edge turners, or corner turners rather, in the same kind of way. So there's a 5x5x4, so instead of having 2 of these pieces on each edge, you'd have 5 and then 4 on the other axis. So I really like this kind of puzzle. So at some point, I hope to get those as well. Next HK Now Store order I make. So this Mosaic Cube, maybe next I'll show this one because this is actually very closely related. So let's see. This box is actually from ZiiCube. That's interesting. I guess maybe because they have some generic boxes for puzzles that don't come with a box. That's pretty cool. So this is from MF8, designed by AJ. I don't actually remember what it's called, but it's kind of, I think the name is some variation of the Dino Cube, because it is a corner turning puzzle. As you can see, it looks very similar to the Mosaic Cube. Let's get the same colors. There we go. But there's some more pieces here. So we have these 4 interestingly shaped centers in here, and we have the corners, we have the edge pieces, but here we also have these tiny pieces in here, and the corners are actually split because you have these little trivial tips, which you don't have on this one. So a little bit more complexity to the solve. I don't think it's going to be much different, but nice thing about it for me, because I prefer stickerless due to my bad luck with stickers, this is nice stickerless plastic. We have a pink side instead of orange, which is slightly weird, but that's okay. The turning seems a little catchy, but honestly not bad at all. I heard varying reports about this puzzle, so I was a little bit apprehensive, but these second layers, I guess, are quite stiff, though, I have to say. So I'll have to be careful with those, make sure nothing pops or gets otherwise discombobulated. But I think with a bit of break-in, a bit of lube, that'll be just fine. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I really am glad that they're making these kind of higher order ReadyCube type puzzles. There's also a 4x4 Dino Megaminx from MF8 as well, which I'd like to get. That looks really nice when it's all stickered up in the pictures that I've seen. So hopefully add that to the collection at some point in the future. But yeah, there we go. We'll call it the 4x4 Dino Cube, I guess. I don't know if there's an official name for it. All right, what else we got? This is from Dayan. This is actually the F-Skewb. There we go. Looking forward to these. I'm a fan of the Skewbs. I'm not particularly great at them, but I am a fan of them. And I like that it's got this strange kind of pattern of cuts on it. So we've got these 2 big centers on each side, which looks kind of odd. And then we have Dino Cube cuts. So we can turn the corners like that. But we've also got Skewb cuts. So we turn like that. And I think that's going to be fun. That'll be a nice combo. Now these axes, I guess every axis works the same, I suppose. You've got a Dino turn available, and you've got a Skewb turn available. Yeah, that seems right. yeah, so I think this is going to be a different kind of solve than your typical high order Skewb. Oh, actually, no, these axes do not have a Dino turn. They just have a Skewb cut. Yeah, look at that. So one side we can do the Dino turn, and this side we cannot. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know much about this. I just seen that you know, Dayan had these two F-Skewb variants available, and I never solved an F-Skewb, but I know there was some kind of Dino turns involved. So I was looking forward to trying these. And yeah, the turning is, you know, very Dayan, I would say. The plastic doesn't feel that great, but turns reasonably. There's quite a bit of catching, but I don't think it's going to sort of overtly anger me while I'm doing the solve. So it could be worse, but the Skewb turns are actually pretty nice. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so that's the F-Skewb. This is one of the puzzles that I don't really know anything about how to solve it. So I don't know how different it's going to be from the Master Skewb or something like that, but I shall surely find out. Then there's another, here it is. This is the Master F-Skewb, the bigger brother of the one we've just seen. And this is the one that I mentioned, well, maybe I haven't uploaded that video yet, but you will see that this looks basically identical to the LanLan Master Skewb. But again, this is actually a Master F-Skewb. So we have some different cuts, I think. Yeah, so on this axis we have a Skewb cut available, but not a Dino cut. Okay. And on the other side we have a Dino cut. Okay, so it is just like the F-Skewb. So on any given axis, on one end of it we have only a Skewb turn available, and on the other we have a Dino corner turn available. Well, we've got trivial tips as well. Look at that. That's fun. And then this Skewb turn as well. And I guess we can't really do slice turns like you can on the Master Skewb. That's going to be intriguing as well. Yeah, so we don't have a middle slice that we can separate out. So I think there will be quite a different feel to the solve because of that. And we have some trivial tips and some immobile tips. Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, I'm really excited for these two puzzles. It's a little bit weird with this one because with the other F-Skewb, you can kind of intuitively tell where you have Dino cuts and where you don't. But here, it's not really visually obvious. So that could prove to be a little bit tricky. The Dino cuts in both puzzles, I think, are the catchiest ones. So I'll be careful with those when I'm solving it. But the Skewb cuts are basically fine. This one is definitely a little clunkier than the regular F-Skewb, though. I will say that. And the stickerless shades are not great. The yellow is pretty sickly. And that seems to be the yellow they often use on Dayan puzzles. I don't know why. The orange is okay, a bit darker than I would usually expect. The other colors are fine, but that yellow is a bit... ugh. So anyway, it's going to be an exciting puzzle to solve. That's for sure. So I'm looking forward to that. Not sure what I've done with the box. Here we go. All right, so got a lot of puzzles to deal with here. Next up, so this is from MF8. The box is very informative, 62mm hexahedron puzzle, so basically cube. And then they tell you a bunch of cubes on the side, but they don't tell you which one is which. But this, in fact, is the Curvycopter 3, which I've been looking forward to for a while. Actually, I'm cheating a little bit here because I added this to the order with my own money. That my family was getting all these cubes for me. So I'd have a couple things to play with before Christmas. And yeah, so I've had this one open for a little bit. I haven't actually done a full solve though. But as you can see, it's basically a Curvycopter but with deeper cuts. So when I make an edge turn, those edge cuts actually intersect with the cuts from the other side. So then we end up with these Rex style pedal pieces and centers in the middle. And yep, that happens a lot. These pedal pieces pop out really easily, and the puzzle is quite catchy as well. So, oh, that's great. I may have lost that forever. Where is it? Okay, well, we'll deal with that later. Yeah, so I'm not sure what to do with that aspect of it. I guess, hopefully with breaking it in, the pieces will kind of stay a little bit more well-behaved. I think there's quite a bit of flash from the injection molds in here, which makes it very catchy. So that's a bit of a shame. I mean, the edge turns, ignoring that, are pretty nice, actually. But yeah, if the puzzle pops all the time like that, it's going to be pretty annoying. But in any case, I love edge turning puzzles. I'm planning to do a feature video about those at some point in the near future. Now that I've got a couple of new ones to add to my edge turning collection, it'd be a good time to sort of profile them and talk about what's great about that category of puzzles. But I'll do a bit of work on this one and see if I can try and reduce this popping problem somehow. But yeah, it's an MF8 puzzle. You know, it's always kind of a crapshoot with them. Moving on. This puzzle, I smashed the box when I opened it, so there's no box anymore. But this is a Dayan corner-turning Octahedron. And it's got a very clicky mechanism. I wonder if it's ball bearings in there, maybe. It very much clicks cleanly into place when you turn it. There's quite a bit of friction, but it turns relatively easily. Can't complain too much. Yeah, it should be all right to solve. Now, I must confess, part of my motivation for asking for this puzzle to appear under the tree is that I have a face-turning Octahedron from LanLan, which I was very excited about, and I love the look and feel of it. Well, the feel is LanLan, so it's not that great. But the problem is I'm really struggling with it. I don't understand it. I can solve much more complex puzzles than that with no problem. But I just cannot really get my head around the face-turning Octahedron. I'm not sure what it is about it. So I thought, I've heard the corner-turning ones are a little bit easier, and maybe I just need to get my head around the geometry a little bit. So I wanted to get this one, the corner turner, and see if that helps. I mean, I'm guessing this will be basically like having, you know, a couple of intersecting pyraminxes almost with this kind of the way that it moves. But we'll see how it goes. But I have a long-term mission to try and be good at the face-turning Octahedron, and that's where this puzzle comes in. But yeah, it looks pretty nice. It's a nice size. Stickers seem okay. Nothing too spectacular, but nothing too terrible either. It is a bit unwieldy with this very heavy clicking mechanism, but the turning is actually reasonably pleasant, and the clicking gives it a nice sort of tactile feel. So yeah, not bad, actually. Pretty okay with that one. Speaking of octahedrons, got another one here. This is a LanLan puzzle. Again, this is part of my mission to understand the face-turning octahedron. So my plan is master the corner turner, because I do a lot of pyraminx, so in theory this should be straightforward for me. Then I'll move on to this one, which I believe is also called the Skewb Diamond, but is basically, it's a lower order face-turning octahedron so far as I understand it. So, you know, we have an octahedral shape and it turns like so. This also has a very clicky mechanism. It's kind of nice with this big chunky puzzle. It's very large, actually, but it feels nice in the hands. I actually quite like the rounded off stickers and rounded off puzzle shape in general. It looks kind of cute. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. You know, I really want to train myself to understand the octahedral geometry. So I hope this plan will work. Start with, you know, the easier to solve puzzles, then move up to, you know, a lower order version of the face turning side of things, and then jump back into the FTO and see if I can understand it. And that's the thing, you know, I love solving puzzles, but I like to make sure I understand them as well. You know, I record all my solutions that I've worked out, and then I look at other people's solutions after I figured it out, try and improve what I've done, and understand where my intuition went wrong, where I could have improved. And for some reason, the face-turning octahedron, I just can't get my head around it. But hopefully I'll get there. So here we have another 62mm hexahedron from MF8. You can see there. This is the Scooby Copter. And another one I'm very excited about. So this one, look at all the cuts. It just looks insane. I'm made to understand this puzzle is quite challenging. And as implied by the name, it's a hybrid puzzle. It's a combination of a Skewb and a Curvy Copter. So we can see that there are Skewb cuts like so. And actually, that's pretty smooth. Not bad, I have to say. A little bit catchy. It's very heavy with factory lube, so I think that's gumming up the works a little bit. But actually, that's pretty good. Pretty good Skewb turning action there. Then we have the edge turns, but unlike the Curvycopter, we have a ton of unbandaging going on. So we can do the kind of stuff you would expect from a Curvycopter, you know, cutting out pieces like that and doing the normal jumbling moves. But you can also, let's see if we can make this work here. So if I line this edge up like that, then I can do a Skewb turn and break that edge up. Oh man, that is going to be wild. Look at that. Very cool. I mean, I'm not even scratching the surface here. I'm pretty sure there are tons of different weird moves and ways to split all these pieces up. Now, I've heard that this one does pop a fair bit. And given the performance of the Curvycopter 3, I'm very willing to believe that assessment. So I will be careful with my first scramble and solve of this. But I'm super looking forward to it. Again, I love edge turners, and this one just seems to be a particularly exciting and, you know, compelling example of the breed. The stickerless shades are pretty nice, actually, on this one. Looks decent. I feel some of the center petals here are sort of protruding a little bit, so I may want to watch those with regard to the popping situation. But I have to say, the turning is actually really nice. And as with other hybrid puzzles, the nice thing about this is that you can just use this as a straight-up Curvycopter if you don't do any of the Skewb turns or splitting up the edges in unusual ways. So I've heard of some people using this as just a regular Curvycopter because it turns better than the LanLan or the Mefferts. So just an interesting little side benefit of this kind of puzzle, which I do appreciate. Yes, very happy to have this. I've been having this on my wish list for a long time, and to finally have it feels good. So that's the Scoobycopter. Next up, we have another edge turner. I think this is the last one of the lot. So this is from limCube, as you can see. And it's the Morpho Magic Cube, Morpho Aureola. No idea what that means. Something about butterflies, I think. I'm not sure. So in English, people have been referring to this as the Curvycopter Extreme. And it does look pretty extreme. So this is also a hybrid puzzle. We again have Skewb cuts. A little bit catchier than the MF8, but reasonably smooth. Then we have our edge turns here, but we have a different array of cuts. So this one, we can do a Skewb turn and slice the edges up like so. It's pretty cool. Get lots of weird stuff sticking out there. And then I guess we could probably do, what else can we do? Can we do it like this? Ooh, yeah, we can split the edges along that direction too. Okay, I think this is going to be pretty wild. Interestingly as well on the face, so we have these pedal pieces here, which are split by the Skewb turns, like so. But we also have what appear to be fixed center pieces. That's interesting. It looks like if we didn't have that, there'd be the potential to have a 2x2 cut as well, but maybe the mechanism doesn't support that, so that's why they've opted for the fixed center pieces. Yeah, the turning is a little bit stiff, but actually the edge turns are nice. Skewb turns, they take a little bit of oomph to get going, but it doesn't feel super catchy. Like, I don't feel like things are going to sort of latch onto anything else and pop out, so I think this is going to be a good one to solve. And I'm really excited in general for limCube stuff. They've been sort of teasing all kinds of really interesting hybrid puzzles on the Twisty Puzzles forum for the last year or so. Not any of them, as far as I'm aware, have appeared in the mass marketplace yet, but I think they are going to mass produce a bunch of these. And there's all sorts of interesting combos of face-turning puzzles and edge-turning and Skewbs and multi-cubes and tons of weird and cool stuff. And if they're about the same quality as this, I think, you know, they're not going to be amazing as far as turning quality, but they will be perfectly solvable. So I'm looking forward to those. And yeah, this is another one I was excited about. I think Super Antonio Vivaldi did a couple videos on this, if I'm not mistaken. So if I get super stuck, I can refer to his greater knowledge and solving ability to get me through. But I will, of course, be trying to blunder through this on my own, at least to begin with. I'm not, you know, I love edge turners, but I'm not super great at them. So I wanted to get a couple of the really challenging ones to really kind of test my knowledge and see how far I could go with these. But yeah, so that's the Morpho Aureola from limCube. Looking really cool. Very, very excited about that. Yeah, and it comes with a nice box as well. Pretty attractive. A little bit beat up by the journey from China, but not too bad. Next up, we have my first Mixup cube. Look at that. So this is from WitEden. It says WitEden Dugushin Mixup Magic Cube. We call this the 3x3x3 Mixup Plus, which they also have the English for that here. Oh, that's interesting. The Legend of Dugu. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, so I'm really excited for this one. I did some research, and it seemed like this was the better choice compared to the regular 3x3x3 mix-up, which is also released by WitEden. This one has additional cuts to basically allow you to split these edges up in different ways, so far as I understand it. So for those of you who don't know about Mixup cubes, the basic idea is that with this guy, normally when you have a 3x3, and you can see a 3x3 here, if you merge these into one piece in your mind, then this is exactly like a 3x3, right? And in a normal 3x3, you can do face turns like that, and there's certain pieces that will never exchange places. So you're never going to have, a center where an edge piece should be, for example. But that is not the case with a Mixup cube, because I can do something like this, and then I can turn it, and look at that. Suddenly I've changed pieces into different places. So this edge piece is now where a center should be, and likewise here. And so it's going to look real crazy and scary when it's fully scrambled. And given that I've never solved a mix-up before, although I've wanted to for quite some time, it's definitely going to be a challenge for me. The turning is great, actually, really nice. No catchiness, very smooth. Definitely much better than the WitEden cuboids, I have to say. I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought it might be worse because, I don't know, maybe, with these additional turns that you can make, but I guess it's basically a variant of a 3x3 mechanism inside there. Not really sure how this works. I shouldn't speak out of turn, really. But yeah, really works great. So I'm happy with that for sure. And yeah, ooh, wow, it already looks pretty scary. Let's not go too far here and get stuck forever. Yeah, so that's the Mixup 3x3x3 Plus. Very excited to have that in the collection at last. As usual, I just wanted to get one in the series, which I put on my Christmas list there. And then if I like this one, which I'm very much sure that I will, then I'd like to get the 3x3x4 Mixup Plus, which I've seen and heard is very, very good. So that's next on my radar. And speaking of WitEden cuboids with poor turning, that's where we're going now. This is a 2x2x6 cuboid from WitEden. This is fully proportional, and it is not an iCuboid. You can see that it turns where it's supposed to. It's centrosymmetric, as they call it on the WitEden site. So it does shapeshift, and it's going to be great. It's not going to be substantially more difficult than the 2x2x4 because you're just basically adding another layer to resolve once you deal with the shapeshifting. But it's going to be really satisfying and fun. I love these big, crazy shaped cuboids. It just feels fun to turn it. Turning is pretty good. It feels similar to the WitEden 2x2x4, but actually a bit smoother. These middle layers are again the stickiest. A lot of friction there. These two layers a little bit less, and the outer layers are pretty well fine. And of course there's some catchiness because they insist on making the plastic as sharp as possible everywhere. So it just catches all the time, no matter what you do. But yeah, this is actually better than I thought. I definitely prefer this to the 2x2x4 in terms of the feel. And yeah, there is catchiness, but the general turning is smoother. There's less friction and more satisfying. So well done, WitEden. Yeah, looking forward to that one. And also to level up my 3x3x N collection, we've got here a 3x3x7. So as of now, I have everything from 3x3x1 to 3x3x6, and now 3x3x7. So very happy with this. I love the 3x3x5, and this is just, another 2 layers on top of that. So again, it could shapeshift. Everything seems to work great as far as that goes. Hang on. Yeah, don't want to scramble it yet. There we go. Turning is really good, as with all the 3x3x-Ns. With these nice, big, enjoyable R2 turns, slapping all these pieces into place at once, which feels good. These outer layers are a bit floppy when you shapeshift that way, but seems to be hanging on for dear life there, so maybe it'll be okay. But yeah, the middle layer is the stiffest one again, but less so than the 2x2x-N puzzles. Actually, on this one, these outer layers are a bit stiff. I'm presuming that's because they're extended out really far from the core in here, so they'll have to build them in such a way so that they don't fall out. but probably that impedes the movement somewhat. But honestly, it's not too bad. And of course, it looks cool. I mean, it's just, you know, having several cubes stacked on top of each other. But yeah, really happy to have another puzzle in my proportional 3x3x N collection. At some point, I'll get the 3x3x8, and I do hope they'll consider doing a fully proportional 3x3x9. They have the Cubicle one, where all the layers are tiny and it's very squashed down. But I do want to get one of those at some point because I've heard they're very fun. But you know, I really like the look and feel of these big, chunky, proportional cuboids. So I hope they'll consider that at some point in the future, especially now that there's a 3x3x8, which means that they should, in theory, I believe, have the capacity to make a 3x3x9 as well. So the last two puzzles to show you. These actually my family had to order from America and get them shipped here because for some reason they're completely not available anywhere in Europe that I've seen. These are the X-Cubes. So there was a Kickstarter, I believe, done for these. And yeah, these are just X-shaped cuboids, essentially. So this is the original X-Cube. So it's basically a 3x3 with additional extensions on these axes here. So when you scramble it, it is going to shape shift and look all crazy, like so. It's pretty cool. The turning is nice, a little bit catchy, but not too bad. There's some stiffness in these layers, but definitely still finger trickable. So no problems there. I quite like this logo they have in the middle here. Stickers look pretty okay. They're not put on with the greatest of accuracy. You can see they're sort of wibbly wobbly in different places, but you know, not the end of the world. I think these are pretty standard size pieces, so I guess if I really need to replace them at some point, I could just use any sort of general pack of 3x3 stickers or something to deal with that. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun to solve, and it's a new kind of cuboid for me. I guess this is like a variant of the, what is it, the cross cube, which you can get from Calvin's, places like that. But the cross cube also would have additional 3x3x1s attached here and here, whereas this one doesn't. So that will change up the solve a little bit. I'm just kind of taking a flyer here on this, but I would guess that probably I would need to solve this inner 3x3x3 when it's shapeshifted to get it back to this shape. And then I'll need to resolve these outer faces and then fix any parities that sort of pop up in the middle. That's what I'm guessing. That's probably the sequence that I'll try, but I really don't know for sure. I mean, I guess for these, it's basically a 5x5 center, right? If you think about it in a certain way. But then you do have you know, additional colors here, so there's some orientation stuff, I guess, that could happen. I don't know. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. It's really going to be fun to solve and figure out. And, you know, adding a new spin on my cuboid collection. So there's that aspect as well to look forward to. And then, of course, we have the X-Cube Master, which has additional layers sticking out from all the sides there. One thing to say about these, if you do get them, is just be careful, because if you don't hold the bottom when you pick it up, like, it just falls apart like that. Which is convenient because it makes me want to keep the box as kind of a display box, because I can very easily just slide it back in. But you have to remember not to pick it up by the top part of the box, because it'll just fall off and your cube will smash on the floor. Anyway, so this is the X-Cube Master. I've seen it referred to some places the X2 Cube, but the official name seems to be X-Cube Master. So again, it's just like the X-Cube, but with an additional extension on each of these four faces. The outer faces are a little bit catchy, but that's not surprising, given that they are extending all the way out from the core. So basically, it's kind of like having two intersecting 3x3x7s, which is pretty cool. And feels appropriate, given that I just got a 3x3x7. And like 3x3x7, you can see that there is a little bit of wibbly wobbliness here. So these outer pieces are, you know, having to come out very far from the core, and so there's a little bit of give here. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be a disaster. I expect there may be some occasions where those pieces might pop or do something like that, but the shape-shifting seems to work fine. And I really love the sort of ginormousness of this puzzle. It just feels huge. You know, it really is big and chunky and satisfying to hold in the hand. So, yeah, I'm really happy to have both these puzzles. So my family apparently ordered these for me from the Cubicle. So if you are looking for these puzzles, you can definitely get them there. The Cubicle ships internationally, which is why they could come to me here in Scotland. Yeah, there's definitely some catchiness on these extended layers here, but yeah, I think with some break-in time and maybe some lube, that'll be just fine. Even just fresh out of the box, you know, without any breaking in or anything, it's definitely feels like I could solve this with a bit of clunkiness, but nothing too terrible. It's not going to frustrate me. So yeah, that's the X-Cube Master. And with that, that is all of my new cubes that arrived here. Well, not arrived, but that have been revealed for me on Christmas Day. So I'm really excited about all these. But I had to pick the ones I'm most excited about. Would definitely be the two X-Cubes, because I just think they look super cool. The Mixup Plus is going to be great. The Curvy Copter Extreme and the Skewby Copter for sure. And actually, this guy here, the kind of higher order Ready Cube type Dino Cube, whatever it is. Yeah, but there's a lot of cool stuff here. These are probably just the ones that I'm really kind of chomping at the bit to solve ASAP. But yeah, I'll hope to do some more videos on these in the future, particularly for the ones that stand out as good value. Maybe they can feature in the Cheap and Cheerful series. If there's any of these that I've shown today that you really want to hear more about, let me know, and I'm happy to do another video as I get sort of acclimated to them, learn how to solve them, and so forth. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that peek at what was under my tree. Hope to see you in the comments. Hope you're having a great Christmas, and if you did get any interesting puzzles on Christmas Day, please let me know. I'd love to hear about what you've got coming in your solving future. Definitely got to add some more stuff to my wish list now, because a bunch of that just appeared for me under the tree, so I need to get some more puzzles lined up for future purchases. So let me know what you got and what your opinions are. And in the meantime, have a great holiday. If I don't see you before the new year, enjoy that as well. And look forward to catching you in the comments and seeing you when the next video comes. Until then, take care and Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.